17 years to get 3,000 hits in baseball, but I did it in one afternoon on the golf course. I'm Jonathan Marker, and I'm here to inform you about the game of golf. The game of golf consists of a ball played from the tee box, and it goes in the hole in a stroke or consecutive strokes, and played by the rules of golf. This continues for 18 holes, and the winner is decided by the fewest amount of strokes. Today I'm going to be talking, a couple key points is going to be the history of golf, which I know is exciting, some rules and equipment of golf, and then finally I'll be talking about world golf. Okay, so history of golf. Golf originated in Scotland in the 15th century. They used sticks and they used pebbles and stones and just hit it in goat fields and grass fields. But this sport eventually evolved. It evolved so much so that England started to pick it up. And King James II didn't like the sport, and the reason he didn't was because it started to interfere with military training. Everybody was just out playing the game. So he had the sport banned for a long time so they could finish their wars. But you know, the game progressed and it eventually ended up overseas. And in 1894, the USGA, or the U.S. Golf Association, was formed. And once it picked up in the States, it grew immensely. Right now, the United States has the most golf courses, 50% of them in the world. And in February 9th, 1971, Alan Shepard, an astronaut, he was commander of Apollo 14 mission to the moon. And he successfully hit the very first golf ball with a 6-iron on the moon. He is quoted to say that the ball went miles, miles, and miles. Below gravity, of course. Now that you know a little bit of the history, let's talk about some of the rules and equipment. According to the USGA 2012 Golf Handbook, there are 34 basic rules of golf. But there's over 100 subsections of these rules. And then there's over 2,000 deciding subsections of each one of those. An example of this is Rule 14-4. If a player strikes the ball more than once in the course of a stroke, the player must count the stroke and add a penalty stroke, making 2 strokes in all. This just shows how complicated the sport is, especially with the rules. This is why I recommend if you play golf, ensure that you know the basic 34 rules of golf. Some of the basic equipment I have brought for you today is the ball, which is primarily white, but it's grown in popularity that they have different colors so they're easily found. So they have yellow, pink for the ladies, and orange. Next we have the putter. Putter is primarily flat on its subface, steel shaft, and is used for short, delicate hits of the ball. Next, we have the iron, which is made out of iron, head, iron shaft, sometimes composite graphite, and is used for mid-range to longer shots. Finally, there's the wood. This is a driver. Traditionally, they were made out of wood, hence the name, but now with technology, it has increased to better materials, graphites, and steels. I have a traditional wood. Most players do not use these anymore. They are unforgivable and they don't last as long as the steel competitors. Now that you know a lot about some of the equipment, some of the rules, let's talk about world golf. World golf it's everywhere. It's not in every country, but it's in some countries, as in Canada, where it's cold, they still golf up there. You'll find it in China, and you'll also find it in South Africa, so it's starting to pick up there. But all of these different countries, they come together, and every year the Ryder Cup is played. It's one of the most prestigious golf events ever in golf. The best U.S. players compete against the best European players. charity because I like the sport. So if it involves charity and the sport I like to play, I'm highly involved. Also, I was able to play in some of these events. I play golf because of the smells, the sounds, and the challenge of the game. Some golfers say that it's easier to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to play golf than it is to wake up at 10 o'clock and mow the grass. I find this very true. Today I talk to you about the history of golf, some of the equipment and some of the rules, and then finally about world golf and why I like golf. Thank you for your time.